Everyone on the call this morning is muted, but you can submit questions at any time via the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. There will be a Q&A session at the end, so all questions that you enter into that box will be addressed by both Marek and Jason at the end, and there will be a recording of today's webinar, and that will be on our website probably by tomorrow, and that's bytes.co.uk/resources webinars. And also, as you exit the webinar today, you'll be met with a critique form, and it would be great if you can fill that out. So without further ado, I'll pass you over to Marek from North Door. Thank you.
Thanks, Warren, and good morning and welcome to our webinar this morning. The purpose of this morning's webinar is really to look at Microsoft's business intelligence tools from SQL 2012. What we'd like to do is walk you through, to begin with, the context for Microsoft business intelligence tools, why Microsoft and we think that they're important, and how we think they can fit in to your organization, who would use them and how they get benefit from them. We'd like then, after that really quite brief introduction, to take you into the real core of today's webinar, which is to look at the actual business intelligence tools, where my colleague Jason will be giving a live demonstration. I'll then provide a brief summary which will walk you through what Jason's been showing you and giving you the highlights and some of the key points around the tools, the business intelligence tools that Jason's shown you, and then talk about some of the opportunities that we can offer you for furthering that conversation and for you to be able to find out more. My name is Marek Baldi. I'm one of the Senior Account Managers at North Door PLC, and you can reach me on this email address, which we'll also give you towards the end of the webinar if you'd like to contact us or one of your Bytes account managers. So moving forward in terms of the context of Microsoft Business Intelligence, really we want to find out how business intelligence from Microsoft can help you in really what is quite a challenging economy. And I think part of the summary for this in terms of business intelligence is what it can do for you is really help employees around the whole organization make smarter, faster and more relevant decisions. Essentially, I think, as somebody once summarized it for me, it helps people get the data, the hard facts that back up their instincts for the decisions they make in an organization. A lot of the times it's not just good enough to feel that something's right, but you really do need to have the data behind you to prove that it's right or demonstrate that your decision is made in the right way, or it's going to be based on facts in the organization. Microsoft's business intelligence tools really do give you the opportunity to really get to the heart of the data and extract that. This is data that your company is collecting all the time, and it's then about transforming that into real information that can help you perhaps keep your finger on the pulse of the business, perhaps, for example, understand who are the most or least profitable customers, and in the marketing sense, perhaps understand which campaigns are working. They can also help you understand a whole myriad of other KPIs, the key performance indicators that your business relies on. Some of the things that Microsoft's business intelligence tools can also help you do is to share that business data securely around or in and around your organization, and potentially with your clients or your business partners. This always helps to make sure that everybody's working on the same set of data, and in that well-known phrase is essentially working off a single version of the truth. And finally, obviously the business intelligence tools allow you to monitor and analyze the performance of your business and really know or help you know and understand where to take action as necessary. Why BI from Microsoft though? Well, quite simply because what we're talking about is using what you already own or may be thinking about owning and know. Microsoft's BI tools are really based around familiar Office products and the Office product paradigm that you would know, your customers would know, and that your staff will know, based around Microsoft Office 2010, SQL Server 2012, and SharePoint 2010. If you don't already have these or have earlier versions of them, then obviously you'll be thinking about some of the issues about upgrading and what can be brought across, and perhaps looking at the business case for the upgrade process. And some of what we'll be talking about today will hopefully help you about that. And that's perhaps one of the opportunities that we can offer you for continuing the conversation. In terms of people in your organization who can benefit from Microsoft's business intelligence tools, well, really it does reach across the organization, from people in the office who need to have, from their management position, a really high-level view of what's going on in the company, the dashboards and scorecards that give them that sort of red, amber, green view of the organization, through to people who need to do analytics on data, and also people out in the field who need information to help them do their job much more effectively. So it really does cut across the organization. And I think in this context, that's what I'd like to pass across now to my colleague Jason, who's going to give you, or start to give you, this live demonstration of the Microsoft BI tools that's going to take you on a journey through how the tools are used for non-technical business people through to some of the technical power users in your organization. Jason.
Thanks very much, Merrick. Hello, everybody. My name is Jason LePage. I'm a consultant at Northdoor, and I'm going to give you a demonstration today of Microsoft's BI tools. Okay, so I'm going to paint you a picture before I begin of what I'm going to show you and the example demonstration. I'm going to play the role of a manager of a company, and in this example it's going to be a telco. What we're actually looking at here is the dashboard for this company, and I'm going to take you through some of the elements of the dashboard and explain what you can get out of Microsoft's BI tools. So what we're looking at here is a dashboard that contains scorecards showing key performance indicators for this company. We've got featured KPIs on the right, shown in a dial fashion to help you really understand the heartbeat of the business and understand what is happening on the business right now. We've got interaction with social media through Twitter, perhaps showing us what your customers are talking about. And finally, there are reports at the bottom giving an indication of the geographical regions that the business is operating in, how you, and on the right we've got some graphs showing the performance of the business over time. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can make use of these various scorecards here to understand the trends of the business and perhaps spot issues as they occur and take action. So as the manager of this company, using this particular scorecard, I've noticed that there is potentially a problem in the eastern region of this telco, where I seem to be losing customers at quite a fast rate. So this scorecard has shown me that I'm losing customers, what the trend is, and what I'm going to show you is how you can use BI tools to drill into this and perhaps understand better what's going wrong with the business. What I'm going to show you next is another dashboard that is focused on the churn of customers in the telco. So what we're looking at here is a dashboard that can be filtered in various ways. So perhaps as I'm the manager of the wireless business for this company, so I have the opportunity to filter this dashboard to show me only the data that I'm interested in. So what I can see now is that I can see the rate that I'm losing customers in my wireless business, and perhaps I notice a spike in a particular month. Here we have the month of March 2010, where I can see that there was a sudden jump in the number of customers that I lost in that month. So what we can now begin to do is start using the power of the tools that Microsoft offer to drill down into the data and perhaps understand why and where I'm losing my business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down into this element, perhaps by service type. And here we can see that this particular business offers 3G and 4G services. And you'll notice that it seems that in this particular month, it was the 3G business is causing a potential problem. And again, I can drill further into this data. And I can see here that of the spike in that month, it seems to be flip phones and smartphones that are potential problems. So again, this is example data, but hopefully you can see how you can apply this to your business and to actually really drill into a problem shown you that was shown on the dashboard and really understand what's going on. So further down the screen, there's another really nice example here showing you a graphical view of the churn rate for the business, where I can clearly see I'm losing customers at a rate in the eastern region. And there's another chart here showing me why. So in the eastern region, I seem to have lost customers through contract expiration. So in this example, I've shown you how using this one dashboard and the drill down feature, I can really understand and take action. There's a couple of additional features here I'd like to show you. This particular chart you can export to PowerPoint or Excel. So perhaps if I was preparing for a presentation or perhaps wanted to pull this data into Excel to do some further massaging of the data, I can do that. Okay, I'm going to move on next to a new tool that's been introduced in SQL Server 2012, a very exciting tool called PowerView. So PowerView is it's ad hoc reporting tool that allows a business user to very quickly create dynamic ad hoc reports. And by dynamic, I can show you a good example here. What we're looking at here is the sales and marketing report, and every element of this report I can click on and apply filters to the data. So perhaps if I would like to see the performance and revenue generated by flip phones, clicking on the flip phones item will filter the report in that way. I can apply multiple filters. Here we go. This is the performance of the eastern region. And what's very nice about this tool is that the elements in this particular report you can pull into PowerPoint if you would like to use this for a presentation. But what really sets this tool apart is the ease that you can create new views. So what I'd like to demonstrate to you today is editing this report and creating a new view. So if you're familiar with PowerPoint, you can see that the paradigm here is quite similar to PowerPoint. We have the notion of views, which are similar to slides. I've created a new view, and what I'm going to demonstrate here is creating a report showing sales by region and time. So on the right, we have the data elements that I can include in my report. So what I'd like to do is pull in under geography the region, and by clicking on the data element you can see the tool has immediately started to render that for me. I'll just expand that for you. There we go. Under subscriber invoices, I'll select some elements here as well, and every time I make a selection you'll see the report is immediately updated. There we go. So there's some wonderful ways you can actually represent this data. So I'm going to show you a scatter chart. So here we have the sales by region and time. What we're missing from this report at the moment is the time element. So if I were to tick time, you'll see that a slider automatically appears at the bottom, and I can slide up and down and I can see how the sales by region have changed over time. So very quickly I've created something that's dynamic, it's interesting to look at and very easy to understand. And this is how you can start very easily spotting trends that might perhaps be difficult to spot without these kind of tools. Like I said, you can now pull this into PowerPoint and actually use it in a presentation, and it will remain being a live and interactive slide in your presentation. Next, I'm going to show you another way of looking at data using a tool called Pivot Tool. Pivot Tool gives you the ability to look at your data in a really unique and graphical way. So in the example here, remember we are using a telco as an example. What you're actually looking at here is a picture of all the handsets that are sold by this company. And there's various filters down the side that I can use to filter and better understand the data. So I'm going to show you an example of where perhaps we would like to find out which handset is making us the most money. So I'm selecting the revenue filter down the side, filtering so I can only show the devices that are creating the highest revenue for the company. And there we have them. So this is the phone for which we're making the most revenue. So it's quite a novel way of understanding your data and representing your data. And this is drilling down into SQL Server Analysis Services. So the underlying data is very detailed, as you can see by clicking on the graphic. I'm looking at the elements in SQL Server Analysis Services. Okay, and the final tool I'm going to show you today is called Power Pivot. So a Power Pivot is it's an add-in for Excel that allows you to crunch very large volumes of data, up to millions of rows, in memory, and quite easily create models in Excel and publish those models onto your intranet through SharePoint. So what we're looking at here is the Power Pivot gallery for our telco company. And what we can see here is that this gallery is live and interactive. What I'm actually doing is flicking through the sheets inside these Excel documents. So for the example today, I'm going to show you having a look at the plan performance sheet in the customer profitability spreadsheet. So by clicking on that, that will now open up for me. So what I'm looking at now is the Microsoft Excel worksheet, but within a browser. So bear in mind, this being in a browser, this doesn't have to be done on a Windows workstation. This could be on a tablet. It doesn't have to be, you obviously don't have to have Excel installed either. So this means I can publish data to a large audience that previously you would need Excel to actually look at. So earlier Merrick was talking about having a single version of the truth. So if you can imagine that without a tool like this, you could probably have a similar spreadsheet being used by many people across the organization, all potentially with different versions of the data, outdated data and whatnot. And this tool ensures that everyone's looking at the same version of the truth and the data is always up to date. So you'll notice I've just filtered the data. So I'm using filtering features of Excel. And what we can see here is that my sports video on demand business is picking up, whereas everything else is not doing too well. What you can do from here is open up the spreadsheet in Excel, and this will then give you the ability to make changes to the spreadsheet, save them back into SharePoint, and also work with the spreadsheet in the way you usually would. So you now have the full power of Excel at your disposal. And for power users, I mean, this is a really great tool. Oh, let's get rid of that prompt. And the very last tool I'm going to show you if I just navigate back to the dashboard. is a tool called the decomposition tree, which I'd like to show you, which allows you to drill down into data in a similar way that I showed before, but has some more powerful options. So again, for power users and or users that really understand the business data very well, this tool can be used to very quickly pull data out of your system. Here we go. So what I'm going to show you is a similar example where I'm drilling down into the wireless business for the company to understand where my customer churn is occurring. And this is the data that I was looking at previously in graph form. What I'd like to show you now is how you can use this decomposition tree to actually quite easily view this data now in a bar chart. So doing that without these tools, what I would have had to do is possibly create a data extract, create charts in Excel. I basically used 4 mouse clicks to do exactly that. I can now export this data, and as you can see, there's various charting options here that I can make use of. And that completes my demonstration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. I'd like to just take you back to the presentation here where it was just moving through. 1 second. So to summarize the things that Jason showed to you, really just in a brief lightning tour there, but very much to give you a flavor of the sorts of business intelligence tools that are available with Microsoft SQL 2012 and the familiar tools in Office 2010 and possibly SharePoint that you have in the organization. Jason started off with the executive scorecard. This is something that really gives people an instant overview, a high-level snapshot of performance showing the key performance indicators that are active in your business, including trends, targets and trends, which really makes it very simple for people to understand. We also showed, well, Jason also shows you the management dashboard with the ability to drill down into data. So that gives really people an element of self-service. While it's not making it necessary for people to be able to build their own queries, it does give people the ability to look into data and interact with that data very much within a controlled environment. And part of, I think, the Microsoft BI story is about giving not just the business users and power users the capability to be more self-reliant, but also be reliant on a data platform that's managed securely and at a high level of quality by the IT department. So this is data that business users can really trust and build and base their decisions on. Jason also showed you the decomposition tree, which allows his power users to drill into the data. These are users that really do understand the structure of data and want to really look in ways that perhaps weren't possible or perhaps are slightly off-piste, if you like, for the standard reports that most business users would require. But it gives them, again, that very high level of self-sufficiency and allows them to see data their way. For the business user who wants to, again, be a bit more creative, then there's PowerView, a very new, highly interactive data exploration tool that allows you to, as a business user, to create that familiar type of chart in a PowerPoint sort of style that allows you also to embed that in your presentations and still interact with that during a presentation. That can make certainly client presentations or board presentations far more interactive and lively, as the data can change in real time as you're looking at it. Jason showed you also the pivot tool, which is very much a new way to see data using graphical representations of perhaps, in this instance, products, the mobile phones, but it could of course be anything. It could be populations, it could be consumer groups, it could be geographies, it could be any particular type of representation that helps your teams visualize and perhaps represent things to clients or your business partners that might be otherwise quite difficult to represent graphically or textually, or sorry, represent numerically or textually. It really allows you to visualize data in ways that wasn't possible before. And finally, Power Pivot. It's very much BI, business intelligence for everyone, allowing you to load huge amounts of data very much from virtually any source. One of the misconceptions about Microsoft BI tools is that they only work with Microsoft data sources, and that simply isn't the case. You can take data feeds from any type of data source, whether it be a line of business application or a separate database from either Oracle, Sybase, DB2, whatever it might be, including legacy databases. All those data can be brought together and combined to provide very detailed analysis, and all that processed in seconds with an in-memory mechanism for doing very speedy analysis. It's very much a new way to work with data. So, in terms of opportunities to move your business intelligence forward, clearly we offer the opportunity just to have a follow-up session, very simply, where we can sit with you and discuss what your objectives are, what the business is asking you to achieve, and how you could do that from starting from where you are today and what that journey would be through to actually delivering that for your clients, what the upgrade implications might be, what the migration implications might be for your business, and what that would possibly entail in terms of the applications that you have. We can also help you understand what you could achieve by actually not touching your source systems at all, but by placing a Microsoft Business Intelligence solution alongside your existing systems, so that you don't actually have to change them, but you can then take data feeds from them and look at then producing that business intelligence and distributing it around the organization without, as I say, touching or affecting your source systems. For those of you who are more interested in getting a very much hands-on experience with the business intelligence tools from Microsoft, we also offer a half-day business intelligence experience workshop. This is provided by us, North Door, at our offices in London. It's led by a specialist BI consultant, and we are limiting that to six participants. It really does give you hands-on use of the Microsoft BI tool stack. Everyone has their own workstation. There's a rich data set for work from, and we provide scenario-based business analysis using the solution, using the actual BI tools and the data sets. Our next BI experience is actually set for a mystery date, as you can see, XXXX in the future, but we'll be announcing that shortly. But if you are interested in that, please get in touch, because, as I say, it's limited to 6 participants. We anticipate that the next date will be in March, so in approximately 6 weeks' time, so towards the end of March. So if you think that might be of interest, then please get in touch with us. In terms of, as I said, then opportunities to move the BI business intelligence discussion forward in your organization, please contact us to organize a follow-up session, or, as I say, register your interest for the next BI experience workshop, which will be towards the middle to the end of March. So with that, very much wanted to say thanks very much for taking part and being part of this webinar this morning. That was all we wanted to do in terms of give you the introduction. I'd like to now hand back to Warren from Bytes just to wrap up. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Marek, and thanks very much, Jason. I guess ordinarily we've had really good amount of people attending today's webinar, just over 50 actually. So But what doesn't normally happen is that we don't have any questions. So if you have any questions based on what you've seen, please just drop them in the chat box now, and Marek and Jason will be more than happy to answer some of those. Of course, as Marek said, alternatively, you can contact Marek directly. His email's on the screen there. Or you can contact your Bytes account manager. So it's quite nice just to have a fairly swift webinar, with a good demonstration on it, really, because I guess that's the key thing that you guys want to see. So if you don't have any questions, and we don't seem to be getting any, that's a good thing. We can thank you for your time and move on. So we'll just literally give you a couple of minutes for those that want to hang around and ask some questions. Got some questions coming in. Okay, we've got some questions coming in. So what I'll probably do is pass the microphone back to Jason, and he can start reading through them and start giving some answers. Cheers.
Hello everybody, so I'm going to work my way through these questions. Okay, the first question from Sam. So Sam is asking what effort it will take to migrate away from SAP to Microsoft BI, and what are the probable hiccups. I mean, it probably depends on a little bit on exactly how big the data set is that you would like to expose via the BI tools, and exactly what what you might like to make use of, because I've shown a lot of tools today. I guess some probable hiccups are if there isn't a warehouse in place already, and there isn't a good understanding of the data to be migrated. That can always definitely be a potential hiccup. There's another question here from Stephen about PowerView being compatible with PowerPoint 2003. You could certainly pull your PowerView slides into PowerPoint 2003, but they're not going to be interactive. So everything would be static. There's another question here from Greg. Right, okay, so we're talking a bit about licensing. So yes, all the tools we showed you today would require an enterprise license of both SQL Server 2012 and SQL Server and SharePoint. Having said that, there is a SQL Server 2012 Business Intelligence license, which does give you a lot of the features that I showed you today. But yeah, definitely the licensing aspect is obviously important to understand with these tools. The recommended server setup for BI, a question from John. Again, it probably depends on your requirements in terms of reliability of the system, scalability, and number of users and amount of data. So the recommendation would really be based on exactly what your system would or the volume requirements of the system. Is there support for SharePoint Online and the cloud version? I probably have to get back to you on that. It's a question from Tim James. There certainly is support for a lot of these tools in the cloud, and Microsoft are more closely aligning their SQL Server Azure product with on-premise products. And that's also true for SharePoint, and as a lot of you are probably aware, there is a new version of SharePoint 2013 that is going to be released later this year. So there is going to be a lot of new announcements coming from Microsoft and new stuff in the BI space to get excited about this year.